Hello, my loves, and welcome to another episode of the Fuck Trauma podcast. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nasally still, but hopefully it's going to be worth it. This is a great episode. If you have ever wondered what does dating look like when you're securely attached, this episode is going to shift everything for you because it's going to break it down. And shout out to the person that DM'd me this question on Instagram because you were the inspiration for this episode. So, let's dive in. So, most dating advice is designed for people playing games. Wait 3 days to text back or act like you don't care. But when you're secure, you don't need these tactics. And today we're going to be talking about what actually changes when you date as a securely attached person and how you can start embodying this today. Okay, so what dating looks like when you're secure. So you date from abundance, not fear. You're not dating from a lack of scarcity of there's only this person and there's nothing else and it has to be this and you're dating from an abundance. You're not desperate for validation or attention because you already feel whole and secure within yourself. You don't need them to make you feel that, and that is that fear. You're abundant within yourself. You don't chase validation because you already believe you are wanted. You assume you're desirable, lovable, and worthy of commitment. You set strong boundaries without over-explaining yourself. No long text messages, guys. None. Yep, I know. If something doesn't feel right, you honor your feelings and you walk away without second-guessing yourself. You expect effort and consistency instead of wondering if someone likes you. And if they want to be with you, they'll show it. And if they don't, you don't take it personally. You don't blame yourself. You don't see it as rejection. You don't work hard to fix it or what did I do? I must make this happen. No, you don't. You don't tolerate breadcrumbs. You move on quickly when someone isn't showing up fully, and you feel comfortable expressing your needs and emotions because you know that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's confidence. And I know this is a big one, so I'm going to have an episode about this soon as well, so stay tuned. And you are the one doing the choosing, not waiting to be chosen, which is a massive, massive, massive problem we have in the action attachment community, and myself included. And I want to give you a real life example of this because it always really helps me to hear real life examples. So I always try and make my content really as real as possible because it helps me to simplify things and see how it can work for me. So I'm gonna have a lot of real life examples in this episode for you, so stay tuned. But I want to give you a real life example of how shifting from anxious to secure changes. So I want to take my client Archana, for instance. She was interviewed on my podcast a long while ago about her experience, but I want to tell you a bit about her story because it's really interesting of how this shifts. So she was very successful and she was ready to share a life with someone. She was ready to start a family and she was really proactive about dating. When she came to me, she was on all the dating apps, she was going to all the dating events. She was really ready, and I think even in the podcast she says she felt like she was on a conveyor belt of dates, trying to find the one for her, right? But she was on a conveyor belt of dates with emotionally unavailable men when I met her. And not just emotionally available, they were unavailable, period, in lots of different ways. And she was accepting breadcrumbs completely, like bare minimum. I'm sure she won't mind me saying. So, at first she was really attached to this breadcrumb situation because she really didn't believe in her self-worth, and that she really was the prize, because she really is, and so are you. And so at first we had to work on her attachment style. We worked on healing that anxious attachment style, and releasing that little inner child in her that was just holding on to these breadcrumbs, this bare minimum, thinking that's all she deserved in love, and it just didn't align with what she really wanted and what she really deserved. So we worked on healing her anxious attachment style, and the final last part was healing her self-concept, because the reason why she kept meeting unavailable men in whatever capacity it was is because she believed she was never chosen, and that is exactly what she kept attracting, was men who wouldn't choose her, that couldn't choose her. And this just didn't fit her desire of a family and commitment and love and commitment, and that's what she wanted, but she didn't believe she was worthy of it. So I gave her a 30-day challenge, 30 days challenge to rewire her self-concept and her subconscious beliefs at the deepest root. And these beliefs are created in childhood, so they are so deep. You have to first dig them up and then rewire them. And this is the exact challenge and exercises that are available in Anxious to Secure in Love, my signature program. Literally the exact things that she had is in Anxious to Secure in Love. She was my inspiration as to why I added it in, because it only had 10 modules and now it has 16 for this reason, because it worked so flipping amazingly and so great. And I've seen it time and time again with so many clients. But I just want to share with you how this changes for you. So we worked on her self-concept, shifting her belief to, of course I am chosen, and of course I'm worthy of commitment. That's in alignment with what she wants, a family and commitment. And I kid you not, bear in mind, she was on a conveyor belt of dates with unavailable partners for years and years and years and years. And I kid you not, I couldn't believe how quick it worked myself. It was a miracle. It was incredible, like magic. But within that 30 days, she wasn't really interested in dating anyone. She just really wanted to work on herself, because she was done with, meeting these unavailable men. It was making her feel like rubbish, really. But within that 30 days, towards the end, she had one date, that's it, just one. And she was feeling a bit deflated, but she was like, I want to go on this date. And so I said to her, that's great, this is great practice for your self-concept, your new self-concept that you've been embedding. This is perfect. So what I want you to do when you go on this date, because I was working with her at the time, I spoke to her probably the day that she was going on the date, I said, this is the difference. You're going to embody your chosen, secure self, okay? And what that looks like is that your inner conversations can't be, does he like me? Does he want to see me again? Am I enough? What's he thinking? Does he want me? All of these things that we do is where we place our power outside of us. We're looking for the validation in them. And that's not what a secure person does. That's not what a chosen person does that's doing the choosing. So I told her, no. Remember, you've worked on your self-concept, you've changed your beliefs, you are chosen, you are wanted, you are adored. She was feeling really good about herself. She felt like she'd shifted, she felt like she was the prize, finally. She was seeing herself that way. And I told her, no, when you go on this date, you need to embody that secure energy. And you're going to be thinking things like, of course he likes me. Of course he wants to see me again. Of course he's obsessed with me. I'm amazing. I'm the prize. Focus on why you're amazing. Talk to yourself about that. Don't be giving out your power being like, oh my God, does he like me? Does he want me? Blah, blah, blah. That's not empowering at all. Change it to be like, of course he does. Assume, of course he does. Of course he likes you. Why wouldn't this person like you? Why wouldn't they want to do it? Because you see your value. So of course they're seeing your value, and you are the prize, and you are amazing. And of course all of these things. Why would you not see yourself that way? That is exactly how you would speak to your friend, wouldn't you? If they were going on a date, or if they, you would be like, of course they're going to fall in love with you. Of course they like you. Of course you're amazing. You're the prize. You're fantastic. You would say all those things to your friend, wouldn't you? Yes, you would say all those things to your friend. But when it comes to you, Oh no, you take away that power. You take it away and you say, oh no, I'm not sure if they like me. Do they want to see me again? Blah, 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 blah. Do you see the difference? Why are you going to do that? That's your anxious attachment style. That's your fear. That's your scarcity coming in. You need to change it around to the secure person of you that knows your value, knows that you're worthy, knows that you're enough. And that's exactly how you speak to your friends. So why on earth are you not doing that yourself? That's what you need to do. And you need to be focused on whether they're a good match for you, because you're the one doing the choosing. And that's exactly what she did. And let me tell you, that is the exact man that she is in a healthy, committed relationship with to this day, 1 year later, that adores her. Literally. She spends Thanksgiving with him. She spends Christmas with him. She travels with him. I see it all. And that's how life-changing this is, making these shifts, and how quick it can happen for you. But you have to stop being the person that is anxious and fearful, because if you're dating from fear, you're only going to attract fear. If you're dating from love, you're going to attract love. It's that simple. And that love is love for you. It's believing that of course you're chosen, of course you're wanted, of course you're all these amazing things. Of course you are. That is the difference. And then you get that reflected back to you. So, the mindset of security attached people in dating, they don't create stories in their heads. If someone hasn't texted back, they don't automatically assume rejection. They assume the person is busy. You're assuming rejection because you have your self-concept beliefs from childhood. Because at the core of anxious attachment style is the fear of rejection and abandonment. So you're assuming it. So when they need space, you're assuming that they're losing interest and leaving you. But these are based on your core beliefs from your wounds from childhood, from your inner child and your self-concept. They're not the present day. Now, a secure person doesn't have that, so they don't create those stories. They don't assume rejection. They just assume the person is busy and they'll hear from them, and that's it. They don't think anything of it. You know, they don't make it about them. They observe instead of attaching. Let me say that again. They observe instead of attaching. Instead of anxiously wondering, do they like me? They shift to, do I even like them? Are they the right person for me? Let me see. Let me just take my time to understand if this person is the right person for me. They're observing. They're not attaching from the first second you start texting and then that's it. They're your entire focus. You're addicted to them and that's all you want. No, no, no. They're not doing that. They're waiting to see, let me see. Yeah, this person has some good qualities about them. Let me see how they are. Let me see if there's more qualities that match with me. Let me see if their words match their actions. Let me see. You know, there's no rushing. They don't need to test someone's interest, which anxious attachment style does all the time. They trust that if their connection is meant to develop, it will, without manipulation or games, and it can develop over time. They're not rushing to be that person's center of attention, priority from the second they know them. They don't mind. They're fine. They're good. They're their own priority. They're the center of their own world. They do not need that from someone else straight away. They aren't afraid of space. If someone needs time alone or a day to themselves, they don't take it personally. They respect it. They respect it. They don't mind. They're okay. They're good. They're whole by themselves. So they go and do their own thing. You know, their whole life and their whole happiness does not revolve around this person. And that's what happens when you're actually attached. And believe me, I did it too. It's like, suddenly anything that made you feel happy before no longer exists, and only that person makes you feel is the only thing that makes you feel happy. But it's not that. It's that your anxiety is so, your nervous system is so wired that you want to be with them only because they're the only person that makes you soothe, because you're addicted to them. That's it. You're craving them and they're the only person that can make you feel okay. You might be with friends, but you're not having the best time because all you can think about is this, getting your validation from this person, getting your hit from this person because you crave them. That is what's happened. You're addicted to them. You're attached to them. It is not love. It's an addiction. It's your anxious attachment style. So it's not even that they're making you happy, it's that they're just soothing you because that's your addiction, that's your craving, that's what you need is a drug. And believe me, I've been there. That is the difference. So a secure person isn't needing that from a person. They're not addicted to them for them to be okay. They have lots of different avenues that make them happy and make them feel whole. They're already whole. They don't need that validation. It's just an added bonus to, they like being with that person, and that's great, but they don't need them. And that is the difference, because they're not addicted to them. And they prioritize alignment over chemistry. Instead of getting caught up in instant attraction, they focus on whether someone shares their values and long-term vision instead. Okay, and so I wanted to give you some practical examples of how secure people date, because I know that, like, this is the way I like to learn, and I know that it can be really confusing as an anxious attachment style to understand the differences. I get that, believe me. So I wanted to share some practical ones for you to understand that. So when it comes to like texting and communication, they aren't glued to their phone waiting for a response. They send a message when they feel like it, and they don't overthink it. Again, I've said this before, I could now, as a secure attachment, I could send a message straight away back to them, and I don't care how it looks. Or I could send a message hours later, but again, it's all based on me and what's best for me. It's none of it is them. I don't care if they respond straight away. It doesn't matter. There's no overthinking. There's no meaning, deeper meaning to it, fear and rejection or anything like that. That's just your fear playing. They don't need to do that. They just, they don't give it the deep meaning. But obviously when I was actually attached, totally did. Totally. It meant everything to me. How quick they responded must mean how much they like me. It doesn't mean jack shit. It's just the meaning you're giving to it. And then that's where it's dangerous, because what if one day they don't text back so quick? What does it mean? Then your anxious attachment is spiraling. None of these things matter. These are not true foundations. So if they don't hear back, they don't spiral. They move on with their day. Their whole world does not revolve around this one person, because they're not addicted to them. They don't overanalyze messages or wait hours to reply just to appear less interested. They don't do that. They don't need to do that. And, they just don't. When it comes to like first dates and early stages, they approach dates with curiosity, not pressure. Instead of thinking, I hope they like me, they think, do I like them? I always say to anyone going on a date, just like a first date, just see it as you're just meeting another human being. Like, especially when you're secure, like you're just meeting another human being. If you feel like you know them already before you've even met them in person, and you just, the sparks are flying, then I would say run, and because that is not healthy. You don't even need to feel like you know them so well before a first date. You're just going to meet another human being. Like, minimize it. That's how I see it now. You're just meeting someone. You're just going for a coffee, like whatever you're, a coffee, a nice date, whatever it is that you've got planned. You just go, and you're just going to have a conversation with someone, and you're just going to see if this person is someone that you want to see again. You don't have to put so much pressure on it. You just have to see it as like something, yeah, okay, I'm going to enjoy this experience. Is this person going to be the right person? Do I want to experience this again? Let's just see. That's it. And they don't try to impress by over-functioning. They just show up as themselves. They're not doing too much. They're not overthinking. They don't need to change their outfit 5 million times to check, do I look okay? Like, no, they're just showing up as themselves, because they're grounded in the belief that they are enough as they are. And if they aren't feeling a genuine connection, they don't force it. However, they also understand that connection and chemistry are different things. Chemistry, instant spark, for instance, is often based on past attachment wounds. It is a great indication that you're addicted and you're attached, not building a lovely foundation of love. Whereas connection is something that can grow over time. If the person treats them well, aligns with their values, and shows up consistently, and there's a level of attraction, they allow space for connection to develop instead of walking away just because the spark isn't immediate. And how many times have you gone on a first date and been like, there's no spark, they're perfect, they're wonderful, they do everything for me, they treat me so well, they're wonderful, we're so matched, but there's just no spark, I'm not feeling it, they're into the friend zone, they go. A secure person wouldn't do that, because these things can grow. Attraction can grow. Chemistry grows over time when you get to know someone, and the connection grows, and you become in awe of how they treat you and how many things you have in together, like in interest together, and how you enjoy spending your time and how they make you feel, and the version of you that you're able to show up being around them. Like, you start to like those things, that you don't have to chase and you don't have to do all these things, and you can just be yourself and you feel free to do that. Those things become really attractive. And so you don't have to force there to be a connection, but certainly if those things, if some of those things are ticked, or they align with your values, they're treating you well, all of those kind of things, and there's some level of attraction, then a secure person will give that a chance, because that can grow. Whereas an anxious attachment style just looks for the spark, but that is a big red flag. So how does a secure person handle red flags and mixed signals? If someone is inconsistent or flaky, they don't make excuses, they acknowledge it and they move on. They don't ignore red flags in hope that someone will change and that the red flags will turn green. They don't chase people who show they aren't fully in. It's either a full yes or a no, and that's okay. They don't take it as a rejection. They don't blame themselves. They just don't, because it's the only reason you do as an anxious attachment style is just because it's hitting those core wounds and you're wounded in a child, that it feels more like a rejection, and why you take it personal and why it takes ages to get over them and all of those things. It's because of that. But when you heal those things, you're less attached, you're less bothered by these things. It's not that feeling that comes up for you, and I know how painful that feeling is because I've experienced it far too many times. When it comes to commitment and exclusivity, they don't rush commitment out of fear. They let the relationship develop naturally. They have open conversations about exclusivity without fear of being too much. They don't rush this. They trust that their partner and they don't operate from a place of fear and control. They're relaxed. They're secure in themselves. Nothing else. And how you can start embodying secure energy in dating is let things flow naturally. Secure people don't force relationships. They let them unfold with ease. And one thing I notice of anxious attachment style is that we force relationships to be like relationships to feel secure, which is how we end up getting into situationships and addicted to toxic relationships that we can't leave, we can't get out of. So, from the moment we meet someone, we want them to show us that they're our priority constantly. We want them texting us constantly. We want them texting a good morning message constantly. Things that you do in a relationship before we even know them. We want them to want to see us all the time and choose us, and it's just to prove those beliefs that you have about yourself. And you rush the dating stage, go into their house, get rid of the date. You rush to their house and rush to intimacy and things like that, so that it feels like it's a relationship, so you can bypass the getting to know the person. It's just rushing into this feeling of like, yes, we're so cemented in this relationship now, they can never leave me, because you have an abandonment wound and you're looking for that security for that they will never leave you. But this is dangerous, because how many times have you done that and they have left you? Because this is not building a relationship of on foundations. It takes time to get to know someone. It takes time to build respect, to build value, to become someone's priority, to build love. It takes time, and that's okay. It's okay to let it take time. That's wonderful. That's when you have foundations, and that's when people don't just leave so easily. They don't just ghost you after they've, you've just had this whirlwind romance, and then suddenly they're out of your life before you know it, and you're heartbroken. That doesn't happen. When you take your time and you assess how this person is, and you allow those feelings to develop naturally, and you build the foundations. That's why. The second thing you can do is stay open and curious instead of fearful. Instead of anxiously worrying about outcomes, enjoy the process of getting to know someone. You know, how does this person make me feel instead? Don't be like, oh, you know, because your anxious attachment style will sometimes sabotage, even when things are good, even when someone's showing up for you really well, your mind will start to be like, no, well, I didn't like that they have these genes, I didn't like them, so I must get rid of them now. Like, they'll look for reasons like that of why you can't be with this person. And it was, I know you might think it feels real, but it's not. It's just your fear trying to tell you, no. It's trying to keep you safe, but it's actually sabotaging people that could be right for you. But it just feels uncomfortable because you're used to chasing the person that has a long list of 10 red flags that you'll happily ignore and chase after them anyway, working hard. But the one person has no red flags, but maybe you don't like something slightly about them, and then suddenly you're ready to ditch. Do you see how that logically doesn't make sense? A secure person doesn't do that. They just enjoy the process of getting to know someone. They know that they're choosing and that it's okay. They're free to just get to know them slowly, see if this is the right person. They don't have to worry about anything. They're not responsible for the other person. They're just seeing if it's a good fit. And then the other thing you can do is practice self-validation. Secure people don't need external validation and reassurance to feel good about themselves. They validate themselves. They're secure in their own worth. They know they're wanted. They validate themselves. They affirm themselves, you know, their own self-worth, that they're enough. All of these things. Validate yourself. That is a huge things you can do. Massive like shift. That will change everything for you. And the fourth thing is like, know when to walk away. If someone is showing signs of inconsistency, mixed signals, or avoids commitment, secure people don't try to fix it. Let me say that again. Secure people don't try to fix it. You know, they're not trying to persuade the person. They're not trying to convince the person, please, no, you are ready for a relationship. No, you are. They're not trying to do that. They are just like, okay, all right, sure, no problem. I'll find somebody that is. They move forward confidently, knowing they are always chosen and the ones doing the choosing. And because they're not in fearful scarcity mindset, they're in abundance, they know that they'll find the right person for them. That's the difference. One person is dating from abundance and the other person and love, and the other person is dating from fear and lack, which is anxious attachment style. And that's why you have to shift it. And the difference is those beliefs about yourself. And let me ask you, if you knew this, if you knew that you were chosen and you're the one doing the choosing, how much different would you show up in your relationships? How would you act? What would you be? What would you be thinking? What relationships would you choose? What people would you choose? Would you be settling for situationships? Would you be chasing after them for a bit of effort? What would you be doing? Ask yourself that. Really ask yourself that, because that is the shift that needs to happen. So when you shift into secure energy, dating stops feeling like a battlefield and it starts feeling fun, effortless, and natural. Oh my God, it feels good. I always say to people, like, date yourself. Go on these dates and just enjoy the experience. Date yourself. Get good at knowing yourself and what you want and what you like, feeling good about yourself. Just do that, if anything, and just don't put so much attachment onto it. And inside Anxious to Secure in Love, I teach you exactly how to rewire your self-concept so that you date securely and attract the love you really deserve. If you're interested, I will leave the link below. And if this resonated, DM me on Instagram your biggest takeaway, because I love hearing from you. So until next time, I will see you soon.